WarsawJS.
Good day, everybody. Let me tell you that this is quite a moment for me because, yeah, I've been around WarsawJS since 5 years, from the beginning of my software developer career, even before. And yeah, let me just say how grateful I am for this community, for the organizers, because it had and still has tremendous impact on my career. So I owe you a lot. And yeah. And yeah, it's a great moment, great pleasure for me to be on the other side and share with you something interesting, hopefully, something interesting. So, what's on the agenda today? I would like to tell you more about my experience with extreme programming, with techniques like test-driven development and pair programming. And then my impressions with this whole AI thing, with large language models, things like GPT, and how these two tools can connect each other to do our job even better. Okay, so a little bit of story at the beginning. So how I get in love in these techniques, let me say, with test-driven development and pair programming. So these two techniques are part of the larger framework, I would say, what extreme programming is. But this is like the closest to us because it's very close to writing code. So I will mainly talk about test-driven development and pair programming in this presentation. And it started with joining a company called Pragmatists. And it was quite a conscious choice because I really wanted to write tests. And these guys were on the different conferences talking about writing tests, talking about TDD and other interesting topics. So I applied for a job to learn as well. And yeah, they hired me. And I spent a year there. An intense year of learning. You could imagine an environment of like 100%, close to 100% pair programming, close to 100% test-driven development. Yeah, it was a lot of learning, and it took about a year, and we got acquired by another company, Snowflake. Maybe you know them, American company, and. Yeah, we can continue sharing this culture in Snowflake, perhaps having even bigger impact than before. So, yeah, we're happy about it. Okay, so maybe before I talk about TDD, let's have a quick poll as before. I like it. So, how many of you heard about test-driven development technique? And how many of you, most of you, thanks, and how many of you use TDD on daily basis? Not so many. Okay, so I think it's worth to tell you a bit. So the process starts with writing a failing test, and this is so important that it's even have this nice animation here. This is the golden rule of TDD. And why is this so important? You should start with a failing test because you learn about your system this way. And this way you can know, for example, if you fix a bug, you start with a failing test, you know that this bug happens in your system, and then you solve with a test. So you make sure that this test really covers it. I see a nervous look from my wife, meaning that I go too much into off topics, right? So I need to speed up a bit. Okay. So the process is to make the test pass, then you can refactor, you have the code coverage, you can refactor, and you repeat iteratively, so you have this nice process to follow. And a bit about pair programming. So the idea of pair programming is you sit together in a pair and code at the same time, the same feature, next to each other. And so one idea is to have this two mindset. One of a person is a driver, the other person is navigator, and I would compare it to have a code review all the time, like all the time coding, because this is what happens in code review. Like you share your code and another person give you a feedback. And in this pair programming process, you can get it all the time. And it's very nice, but it's very intense, so it has some flaws, I would say. But yeah, I liked it, and we still use it at Snowflake. And let me tell you that it goes nice with pair programming. So you can see this red-green refactor, and ping pong is about one person starts with writing a failing test, then another person would implement it, then another person would refactor. So it goes nice. Okay, so changing the topics, about 2021, there was GitHub CoPilot introduced, and let me tell you, I was quite impressed. We were all impressed. In our company, we would share each other's snippets on Slack. It was just completion, but it had this sense of intelligence. We were very, yeah, we were impressed. And now we are in 2023, and GPT and AI is all around the agenda, different, not only software development, but it really changes how we do business and stuff. So what impressed me, that it can code, obviously. It understands, it has this kind of understanding you wouldn't expect few years before, I think, and I will show you some examples. It can learn on fly, meaning if it doesn't know something, because there was a cut in 2021, I didn't learn something from 2022, then you can just slap it with some documentation written just yesterday, and it learns on fly and applies it to your code, so it's quite amazing. And yeah, it's getting better so fast. GPT-4 is much better than GPT 3.5. I would say if GPT-4 wouldn't be here at the moment, this presentation kinda didn't make sense. But I mean, if I would need to do it with 3.5, but with 4 it's different. So yeah, it makes you think how better it can get with next iterations. But obviously there are some flaws with GPT. So one of it is it's hallucinating. So it was prompted a few days ago by me with 3.5 because 4 is a bit better, but I wanted some simple example. And yeah, I'm passing it some algebra. It's quite complicated, okay, but it wouldn't just tell me, yeah, I'm not good at calculations, use calculator or whatever. It just confidently shares a wrong result with you. So this is kind of scary. This is showing us that we should be careful with generating code with GPT. And yeah, here we coming back with the process of test-driven development and pair programming, which is about ensuring quality. And I think there are many things from extreme programming that goes well with GPT, with this ensuring quality, that's just keeping it in place. So we have a constant feedback loop if we would pair program with GPT. We keep having high code coverage, so we constantly check if whatever GPT written is written well. When we do prompts, I will share you more later on the demo. We can use our tests, our code, our test output as an input for GPT, which is quite amazing. I think we can do amazing tools with it. We have this incremental progress, so we do this little loop with a test and the code, coding some feature, and we check if everything is okay. We can make a commit, and then we go next and next and next. And yeah, I think it's comparing to pair programming as two developers. Yeah, this is like 2 salaries compared to 1 salary, and GPT. Yeah, some basic plan, or not basic, but it's I think yeah, the money is Risky subject? Yeah, okay. I think we shouldn't be afraid, but we can talk about it later. Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the demo. So first thing I wanted to share you is some prompts. So basically, the proof of concept of my idea how we can cooperate with GPT is 3 prompts. Let me share with you just maybe 2 of them at the moment. So what we start with, we tell GPT that it should role play. It's a technique from, let's say, prompt engineering that we should tell it who it is to maybe follow some rules of Uncle Bob, and to follow test-driven development, explaining that we are in the particular phase right now. And what will happen next, we will pass here, this is just empty right now, but it will be filled. We will pass it with some test scenarios. So this is a green phase. We have all the code written, it's green, and we want to write a failing test. So we'll write a scenario here for a failing test. Then we will pass files for reference. This will be just our code, copy-pasted. And below there are some more guidelines. I would love to talk more, but I just don't want to, pass the time. So another prompt is pretty similar, but this will be about red phase. So when we will come to the red phase of test-driven development, there will be another prompt, and we will pass the output of the test, and we will expect the GPT to code the implementation. So, Piotrek, did we maybe downloaded the movie or not? Let's just play. Oh, it is downloaded. Okay, I'm not sure, but it should work. Okay, so we go with the demo. This is a simple. Yeah, I can stand back. This is a simple app, a to-do app, which doesn't work yet because, it just clears the form and then nothing happens. Why is that? This is because we haven't implemented it yet. We are in the green phase, so we are conscious about it, but we just implemented clearing the form, and we will go with the next step. And let me just share you some code. It's very simple, so you can see that in the handler of adding to do, we just clean the form. Okay, so we are in the green phase, and here is the test scenario. We say that given the form is filled, the user clicks the button, and the new to-do item should be added to the pending list. So copy-pasting, we would copy-paste the whole code, but that was cut from the demo. So it has all the data, and now it will write a failing test. So it understands. Here is the new failing test. So we will wait a bit for an output. It follows the rules. I wanted it to have a structure of given, when, then. This is a nice framework to write tests. And I don't like it that much. It's okay, but the assertions, it's a little bit weird. We just added one to-do item, and it checks like all the items, taking the last one. I think it can be simplified, so I will tell it. Just assume there is no items before, so the assertion part can be simplified. So this is just some example how we can communicate like a pair programmer, right? I am navigator and it is a driver. Okay, so this is actual the pace GPT-4 has now, but the next slice I think there will be speed up. But it's not bad. Okay, so now it just checks if the length is 1 and takes the first element of the array. So I'm a bit more happy about it. Okay, so what we do now, we paste the new test in our test suite, and we check the terminal. And what happens is we have a failing test, as it's supposed to be. And it's failing right. I was telling you about the failing right, so there was missing one list item, so we can proceed. Okay, it's big, little bit too fast maybe, but now we are in the red phase. This is a different script with the red phase. We put the console output and we proceed with the next stage. So this is like the new story, new chat window. We put all the context, we put the code and the console output. Code is updated with our new test, and we ask it to write implementation for us. So what it will do, it will output all the code, all the new code. Now it is speeded up with some explanation. And what we do, we just copy the code, put it in our app.tsx file. And yeah, let us compare the code with Git, just to make sure. So we have some to-dos introduced. We loop it to render it. We have some use state, and the setting the use state is handled in the right place. So obviously it works. Good job, GPT. So there is also, we have more time? A few minutes? Okay, cool. So, okay, let's check if it really works. Okay, it's not rendered very nice, but the logic works. So we are going to the last phase of our process, working on a feature, is refactor stage. So maybe I'm not so happy about how it coded the solution. So I say maybe you could use to-dos hook to encapsulate the logic from the component and put it in a separate function, right? Okay, so that was fast. It's speeded up again, but it will make sense later. What it did, you can see it introduced the hook. It explained the reasoning. So let's copy paste it again. Okay. We will copy paste it in our app. Again, we will check with the Git the previous version what changed. So we can see it did it how I described it. We have separate function. It's a very simple refactor, but that was for the sake of the presentation. We can see that with such a simple refactor, GPT can handle it very well. We still have the green tests, so we are happy. We can again check if it works. Obviously, if we have tests in place, we don't have to do that, but this is for presentation. So we close our loop of test-driven development. And for such a simple example, GPT made a good job, I would say. Okay. So what do I do now? Okay, like this. And extreme programming. And, okay, not this. Okay, so we have some conclusions for you. I have some conclusions, some of my personal opinions of this proof of concept. Obviously, like, this wasn't the best developer experience you can have. There was a lot of copy pasting. It was all speed up from the presentation, but it was lots of copy pasting around the different files. So I think it could be a start for a nice tool for a VS Code extension, for example, when you can inject the code and the test output automatically in the prompt. What I need for it to make it happen, I need the GPT-4 API key. So as I told you, 3.5 is not that good at this, so I waited for it. And yeah, OpenAI doesn't trust me yet to have an API key. It should change in the next month. So that was the only way for me to communicate with GPT-4, just with the chat. So that was the idea for the POC as well. I have some hopes for fine-tuning GPT. It should be possible soon this year to fine-tune GPT model for your use. So yeah, you can fine-tune it to according to your repository, for example, and then it will yeah, it will expand. You will not just use 2 files like there, but it can know how maybe to import file from somewhere else. Maybe I will try some other large language models. Some of them are open source, they are self-hosted. So yeah, interesting future yeah, in front of us. Thank you for your presentation, for my presentation, and for your attendance. I can thank you for your presence. And yeah, if you have any questions, yeah, I'm here to answer.
Pani Arturze, thank you for your fantastic presentation. Give Artur a big hand for his presentation. And thank you all for your presentation as well. You present very well. Did everyone follow that? I didn't mean to pressure you.
Okay.
Of course, there's never any pressure to rush through the process. And of course, I'm not the most astute when it comes to this very quick copying and pasting process that you went through. It just seemed to me that, was everyone following that very easily, what he was saying? It's very simple for you guys. I was like struggling to keep up. I was like, wait, can you slow down just a little? Does anyone have any questions for Artur? Right there, Mehdi. Oh, coming.
When you use it for a week, how many tokens does it take?
ChatGPT, when you communicate with GPT through the chat, it just, there is a barrier that you can prompt it like 20 times an hour or something. I don't know. The answer is I don't know because I didn't measure it. If I would use the API, I would love to tell you. So I think maybe there will be a follow-up with me using the API when I have the GPT-4 key, and I can just give the number how much it costed to produce something. Okay, so I don't think you can get this information from chat. I mean ChatGPT, not GPT as an API. Or maybe I am wrong, but I don't know how to do it.
Reasonable question. Just to go back to what that gentleman mentioned, you say this is a sensitive topic, the idea.
Oh, yeah.
I think that part I sort of understood. I mean, basically we're saying that we can actually hire less people and use the machine instead of a real partner. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think you could.
Oh my gosh!
Put it
Anyway,
in this
next
way.
question.
You could put it in this way. But
oh my gosh!
I feel like we just need to keep with the pace. This is my idea of that, because you cannot just hide and pretend it's not there.
Sure,
you can use it. You can use it for a good. And yeah, it will stay with us. It will change a lot, and we just need to adapt.
For the developers, does it make us more money, or does it save more money for?
Yeah, let's do everything to make us more money. Yeah.
I have to do the math. I'm really struggling with that. Next question over here.
Yeah, hi, thank you for presentation. You mentioned that it would be nice to have some VS Code extension for such things, and also you mentioned the GitHub CoPilot.
Yeah.
But have you heard about beta version of CoPilot chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I'm using it on a daily basis, and I think it's a best tool that can fit these requirements and help you. And it also have all understand and have all like knowledge that CoPilot has, but also you can communicate with it even. So.
Yeah, I thought of it to introduce CoPilot X. I think you mentioned CoPilot X, the new version of CoPilot. So one thing, it is in a closed beta version, like release. So I read the terms, and they say I couldn't. I'm not really allowed to share it on a meetup like this because it's in a beta version and it's not supposed to be shared like this. But yeah, I follow you. I think it's maybe I will just introduce my workflow with GitHub, with new GitHub CoPilot, and it will work.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Just recently, using this thing that you were referring to, I keep being reminded by the ChatGPT not to share any sensitive information.
Yeah. Also good concern. Yeah.
And when they keep repeating it, I start understanding that maybe this is for good reason. I think many of us have NDA agreements, and we are protecting our clients' sensitive information, and that's something to keep in mind.
Yes, yes, exactly. I didn't put it in the presentation, but definitely you need to be very aligned with your company processes and how they see the security, privacy, legal concerns with GPT. This is real. This was all this Altman trip around Europe was about regulations to talk with European Union about it. The CEO of OpenAI. I've seen Piotrek there on the meeting, right?
He was there.
With some Altman.
I spoke with this guy, and actually this was funny because he said, I asked him a question, it's all online, and the funny part of that is that he said, hey, I don't want any public media to know about that I'm here in Warsaw. And we said, but why? Because it's all biased and I want to have real contact with people. And actually, when I sent on my LinkedIn and on my Facebook the invitation, hey, Sam Altman will be tomorrow in Warsaw, please book the tickets as soon as possible. Everyone replied, no one speaks about this, it's impossible, we don't believe you.
Are you talking about the question of security and
that was about Sam Altman, but about security and issues.
And Wojtek was there in this.
He was the first. Actually, Sam Altman was the first to ask for regulations. This is incredible. I like this self-conscious of this man. Self-awareness, because he literally asked the government.
He begged the government.
Yes, to put regulations on his kind of social. It's very very nice. Actually.
It's interesting.
When he asks, he can give some input, like what regulations. So
yeah,
I think
very
it's for his good.
Yeah, okay. Being in Poland for a very long time, for me, that type of behavior is just a little bit podejane. I don't know. I don't really buy it 100%. However, yes, I remember that meeting. Any more questions for Artur? We have time for one more. In that case, folks, get your energy up. Big thanks to Artur for the presentation.